Alright, in this video we're going to go over a super important concept in JavaScript, which is the for loop. Now, for loops are pretty simple, but looping in general can be a little tricky. The for loop to me was the easiest concept to understand. But let's just get right into it. So the first thing you need to do for a for loop, to describe the basic concept of it, is you're going to be going through a list of items essentially, and you're going to be going through that, and then you're going to be doing something with whatever's in that list, right? So generally what people will do is they'll go through a variable that holds a list of like users, right? Maybe for a website or something like that, and then these users will have information about them. And actually, to get this, you can just go to your CodePen. But also, I found this. I just wanted to shout out this really cool site called Mockaroo. If you go there, you can just put in what you want and what the format is that you want, and if you just put JSON, it'll give you what you need to download, and that'll give you your own data if you want to auto-generate all this data, because none of this is real. This is all dummy data. What you do is you have a variable, and then you define that list. So this is an array. We know that. It's an array of objects. And then each of those objects has its key value pairs, right? So first name, last name, and an email. And they're all in there. They're all comma separated. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and define a function. We're going to say display first names, because the goal of this whole exercise, this whole video, is to display the first names. But we'll go into a little bit more depth than that. So the for loop, just to start breaking it down, what you got is you just say for, then you do curly braces, and then what you do right here, this I is something that's foundational in your for loop, but I doesn't have to be I, it could be anything. But this just means this is the variable that indicates each iteration of your loop. So I is commonly used because it stands for, like, iterator. Right, so if your iterator equals 0 and your iterator is less than the total length of this variable, which the length of this variable is each item, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many long, right? So if it's less than the length, then tell it to keep increasing and keep going, right? Keep going down the list. So this format right here, you can look it up. I look it up all the time, like if I need to, like just slips my mind or something like that, or if I'm just trying to think of how to structure something new, like don't worry about that. Just look up for loop structure inside like W3 schools or whatever it is, and you can or MDN, and use that, right? So now that we've done this, now we set that up, then we're going to say do something here. So in this case, we've done console log, because we're going to use a console display to display what we're outputting. So console log users, each iteration of the users variable, which is each one of these, and then dot first name, right? So we're going to ask for the first name of every single thing that we iterated through. So we could change this to last name, we could change this to email, we could change this to anything in our object, but all we know is that we're going to be getting each iteration of this list because we've defined this right here. So I'm going to actually go through a couple different parts of this. So first, let's just break into the for loop, because this will kind of help you understand this a little bit. So if I say if I is less than 2, right, then when I run this, then I'll actually only get the first 2 names, and we can go up here and we can check Skelly and Frederick, right? Those are the first 2 names that we have in our array. So if I do 3, then I would get 3 names, and if I got 4 names, I get 4, and so on. So also, I can do changes to 5, and if I say I is equal to 3, right, and then I run this, then I actually get between 3 and 5. So I'm going to get the third name, up to the 5th name, or just to before 5, so less than 5, right? So the iterator is going to work like in that capacity, right? So I'm actually going to try to ditch the list of names. I'm going to move this up a little bit so we just see the function. All right. This is kind of to show you why we put in the users.length and the 0, because we want to start from the beginning. And this iterator plus plus just means that it's going to keep on looping through. So I hope that kind of described the like basic how that loop structure is working right there for you. So we can do a lot of things in this middle part right here where we're doing this console log, but for right now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get the first name of each. So we're going to display first names in the console, and as you can see, it's giving us all of these first names. But just to change it up and just show you some more, email, right? I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to get all of their emails, right? So I can also do that with the last name. And then this is now, at this point, not what we originally had going on for us. So there's all the last names, because Wilbert Marchand, Cindy Basterfield. So those are all matching up, right? So, and also what I could do is I could just say users I. Let's just see what that gives us. Right, so that gives us every whole object, right? So it just goes through and it spits out those objects one after the other as it runs through. So this is something that is going to be a foundational concept that you're going to be running into all the time in JavaScript. And a lot of times you'll be doing things like you'll be running through an entire list. You'll be looping through a list, and then you'll be finding a match, and then you will then take that match and then push it to an array, and then you'll put that array in a database or something like that. That happens all the time. So if you're working with this, you definitely try and master this concept before you get out of here. This code pen will be available in the course resources, and hope this was helpful. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.